evening and welcome. Maggie for Seattle. In the news tonight, Beeker's family home sold behind their backs. The Brand learners left stranded. LPM unhappy with the Walvis Bay municipality. Emma Theophilus officiates Tala Namibia online film festival. And Roundup Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and Weather. Now for the news in detail. A family of close to 10 is on the verge of becoming homeless after one of the family members allegedly sold their home without them knowing. The residents say the new owner is breathing down their necks to get them to vacate the premises. Isai Sipunga has this report.
The family, however, refuses to leave and says that they will remain in the house until the matter is solved in court.
When Florida sold the house, we never knew when the house was sold. We never find out. We went to the police station. The last day when we were in the police station, Florida was so anxious that she has to go back to Ocho because of the stuff was stolen and she needs to go gather the stuff and she needs to make a case and she wants to go back. But we never knew that that day was the day that she got the money. And after that, Florida went out and she went crazy in the police station. We never mind. All I asked that day was, are you really going to turn back the house? She shouted and said, no, I'm not going to give back the house and don't force me. That day, Inspector Sebastian said, no, leave the lady so she can think about it.
The family allegedly spent over $30,000 on a lawyer with the hopes of winning back the property. The lawyer, however, decided to ditch the family.
Mr. Muka, because we were not, no one was listening. He said we don't trust him, and that, but he was the one that was pushing us to be in Richard Tongo's shoes, that we should just pay the money and be left in the dark, or we should just pay the money and get the house back. How are we going to gather that money even to pay the house and get it back to ourselves? We want people to intervene in this story. We need someone from the city of Windhoek. We also need someone from the Prime Minister's, at least the property side. And we also want someone, at least Monica Kenko of Mr. President, someone must intervene here.
The family says not even law enforcement could intervene and save them from the verge of homelessness. Today on One got a hold of the children's advocate at the office of the Ombudsman, Ingrid Hasselman, who says the family can visit their office for inquiries.
It's certainly something that somebody can come and lay a complaint with the children's advocate because it affects children and their right to basic conditions of living, which includes having a roof over their head. And then we can certainly look into whether or not things happened properly or legally, and provide, even if it is just advice or a referral somewhere else. But definitely there's nothing that you can't come and complain to us about affecting children.
How this story turns out, only time can tell. Today on One, we'll keep you updated as it develops.
That's a corrupt things, I say.
Parents of learners that are attending the J.P. Brunt Primary School outside of Walvis Bay are worried about getting their children back to school after the holidays as they no longer have transport. The learners of the J.P. Brunt Primary School, which is situated about 45 kilometers outside of Walvis Bay, used to be transported by bus every holiday and home weekends. The Econolux bus service has, however, given notice to the school that it plans to terminate its service the learners for about 7 years. Leston Waller reports.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
According to the company, it has been suffering financially as the buses keep breaking down due to the bad conditions of the roads. And it also does not make any profit. The learners only pay 70 Namibian dollars per return trip with the buses, and with taxi they pay 300 Namibian dollars per learner, while the company spends about 6,000 Namibian dollars on diesel per bus.
For them, it was not really to make profit. They were just assisting. Then I was trying to negotiate with them. When I got the letter, I called them and I said, okay, we do understand your point, but can you not assist us only for the holidays? You are not transporting them for home weekends. Let's leave the home weekend stuff, but at least if we know when the school starts on 26th of May, let me know that all our learners will be there on time. And when the school closes, let me know that at least all the learners will be back safe here. Then they said, no, the MD or whoever is out of the country and they cannot give me an answer. But then they said, in the meantime, don't sit and wait on our answer. See if you can find a way. And the person who actually initiated this meeting is a parent like you, a school board member. That Jesiah, he's the one who called and said, Meme, let's get our parents together so that we must address this problem before it really becomes a problem. You know what is happening? A single trip taxi, you will pay $300. So every time you take your child there, $300. Will you all afford that? Every time. It's long weekend, it's home weekend, it's school holidays. So these $70 they were paying, it was really, it was affordable. We could all make it.
Justice said that the learners used to stay away from school after school holidays and the weekends before the company offered the transportation service, and it would be unfortunate as learners are already behind with school work due to the COVID-19 situation. The parents and school held a meeting on Saturday to discuss the issue.
I knocked on the doors of councillors for an appointment. I also tried companies like the Hangana Fishing Company so that we can ask for their bus service.
We were informed that the buses won't operate anymore at a very short notice. We are very disappointed. We are trying to reach out for help because the children must go to school to learn. We are very disappointed. We are appealing for any assistance, any donations or buses, those with big buses, as the children are more than 400, so they need 3 buses. If the government can please assist us, we will appreciate it.
The school is also trying to consider keeping the children at school during home weekends if a solution is not found.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The Landless People's Movement leadership at Walvis Bay has condemned the manner in which the Walvis Bay municipality is allegedly treating vulnerable residents when it comes to outstanding debt, while the elite and politically connected are overlooked. This report by Hendrina Kanyolo.
The Walvis Bay municipality has been making headlines in the media recently regarding millions of dollars outstanding debt owed by the community for services provided by the municipality. The Landless People's Movement argues that Walvis Bay is one of the municipalities that do not owe money to Namwater or Erongo Red, as the council is the majority shareholders with 49 shares in the electrical distribution business in the Erongo region.
Yes, the council has inherited an outstanding debt of 436,928,493, of which has originated from various services rendered by the council, such as rate and taxes, water refusal, sewage, amongst others. It's clear that policies in place are less effective to the wealthy and politically connected. and only seems to be useful and fully effective and executed on the vulnerable in terms of debt recovery. Therefore, policy review is vital as I have read through the current credit control and debt recovery policy, which hasn't imposed across the board in full, which was the cause of the accumulations of debt. Many of the vulnerable people are left today without the needed and the most fundamental basic service is water.
Bakir urged the municipality to cut the water services of business people, the elite and the politically connected who owe the council with immediate effect, as it is being done with the vulnerable residents of the town.
Where is the fairness in terms of the above, by which the vulnerable are the ones who suffer in most cases? Therefore, we condemn the biased action of the municipal council administration in the strongest way possible and demand that water services of businesses, well-offs and political connected who owes the council in whatever way been cut off with immediate effect, as done to the vulnerable in the quickest way possible. At the current stage, the council is again creating a room for debt accumulation through payment arrangement on outstanding debt in order for the water service not to be cut off.
Bakir said that unemployment is the biggest contributor leading to community members not paying their bills. He says leaving the vulnerable without access to basic services such as water and electricity is unfair.
The Deputy Minister of Information Communication Technology, Emma Tifelis, launched the Tala Namibia Online Film Festival, the country's first ever online film festival. The ceremony took place at the National Theatre of Namibia in Windhoek. Joseph Ilonga has more.
Tala Online Streaming, in partnership with the Namibia Film Commission, launched the first Namibian online and mobile-based film festival, where local audio and visual creatives who submitted their work for the Tala Namibia Online Film Festival will stand a chance to win 30,000 Namibia dollars. During the launch, the Deputy ICT Minister expressed that through its continental partnership with Nuela TV, she is confident that the festival will increase the country's visibility and will assist the local creative sector in addressing the challenges presented in the digital market.
I've been reassured that the Tala Namibia Festival presents a unique opportunity to multiply audiences and to give plays, films, which have been recorded, an opportunity to be appreciated. In light of the development and exposure of our talented industry to foreign countries, I'm happy to further learn that Tala Online Streaming has secured a commitment from a technical partner, Nuela TV, that Ms. Miranda is talking about, to consider films entered for global distribution on their Nuela TV platform as an added benefit for participants. This festival showcase will undoubtedly create a necessary boost in additional marketing for Namibia as well as Namibian creative talent.
During the 7 days of the festival, which will run from the 12th to the 19th of May, audiences from all over the country will have the chance to walk away with an audience prize award of 10,000 Namibia dollars by streaming and voting for their favorite submissions. Miranda Stein from the Namibia Film Commission announced that after the film festival, Tala Namibia will make the popular content available for subscription on the streaming platform to allow local filmmakers to generate an income.
As we launch the Tala Namibia Online Film Festival today, we should all remember that while the festival is the departure point, Tala would like to make popular content from the festival available for subscription beyond the festival, allowing filmmakers to generate an income through their content with every single view. Continuing this platform will also assist greatly in building a film culture and appreciation of film in our audiences. And we all know that it has been a challenge historically for us to get our content to the masses across our country. And here we have a solution literally in the palm of our hands.
It was also announced that Telecom Namibia is a partner in the Tala Namibia Film Festival and that the package for viewers in the country to access the online content which showcases and celebrates Namibia's diverse culture, heritage and creative talent.
We are molded with the utmost intricacy, unique and ever-evolving. But we will always need a guiding hand.
The Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism has noted with great concern the keeping of game and other wild animals in private farms, land or facilities in a manner that is contrary or conflicting the provisions of the Nature Conservation Ordinance 4 of 1975 as amended, as well as the Controlled Wildlife Products and Trade Act 2008 Act No. 9 of 2008. It has been noted that private farms, land or facility owners are keeping game and other wild animals without the necessary permits from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism. In addition, it has equally been observed that those in possession of the necessary permits are not complying with the conditions attached on such permits authorizing them to keep game and other wild animals. The Ministry has therefore formed a national task team that will look into the matter. The National Task Team will investigate and take the necessary and appropriate measures against those who will be found in contravention of the laws and regulations governing the keeping of game and other wild animals on private farms, land and facilities. This is solely meant to restore order and to ensure full compliance with the existing laws and regulations governing the use of the country's natural resources. The public is urged to continue reporting wildlife crimes or suspected wildlife crimes at the nearest MEFT office, police station or the Ministry's hotline 55555. And first-rank Namibia economist Terusa Nandago has noted that the manufacturing sector bore the brunt of the impact of COVID-19 and associated lockdown measures during 2020 as several manufacturers were forced to stop or minimize operations. This was further compounded by a decline in the demand for manufacturing products as incomes in the economy became constrained. According to Nandago, as a result, output in this sector declined by 19.6% year-on-year compared to a growth of 4.3% year-on-year during 2019. This contraction makes manufacturing the third worst performing sector during 2020 after hotels and restaurants, which contracted by 33.1% year-on-year, and transport and storage, which contracted by 22.4% year-on-year over the same period. Given that this sector contributes 11% to the GDP, this had a material impact on overall economic performance. She further noted that looking ahead, output in the sector is expected to recover from the levels seen during 2020 in the absence of severe lockdown measures. Total output is, however, expected to remain below pre-pandemic levels owing to reduced demand in the economy, the closure of some smaller manufacturing companies, and restrictions on alcohol sales because of curfews.
My brother, if she say no, she means no. Let's speak out against gender-based violence. Together, we can make Namibia a safer place for everyone. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One.
Thank you, Maggie. Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. At a ceremony in Windhoek attended by heads of commercial banks, the outgoing board chairperson of the Bankers Association of Namibia, Esther Kali, handed over the leadership of the association to her Nedbank counterpart, Martha Murorwa. The mandate of the association is to act as a medium of communication with the government, the central bank and authorities on matters affecting banks. The Chief Executive Officer of Letshego, Esther Kali, has been at the helm of the industry body since June 2020. She now hands over the chair to the Managing Director of Nedbank, Martha Murorwa. Kali gave highlights of some of the challenges and achievements during her term.
As we witness many retrenchment and salary cuts, this affected every bank. What did we do as a bank? We stood together to hear the cry from our Namibians. Today, I'm proud to say that we managed to provide payment relief to those that were eligible and could help families in the time of need. It was not easy. As you know, we cannot please everyone, but by the steadfast of all banks, we were able to stand in solidarity and assist where we could. Never would I have imagined that the Bankers Association would appoint its new CEO. A discussion we also had, deliberation around this. This was a moment that was quite nostalgic, as it reminded me when I took over Letshego Bank and we obtained our first banking license.
The new chairperson, Martha Murorwa, will serve for 1 year in the position, as the position rotates annually among the heads of commercial banks.
It is of utmost importance that we adopt a new spirit of collaboration and mutual trust to ensure that we deliver on our mandate where policy is concerned for our stakeholders. It is our duty to uphold international accepted banking standards among members, comply with the new laws, and contribute to the industry and economic development of Namibia. I pledge to you today that I will champion our collective cause, and I look forward to our joining hands, heads and hearts to serve this great country and create a vibrant and conducive banking industry for the people of Namibia.
The governor of the central bank thanked Esther Kali for her contributions during her time and said that she served during very difficult economic times.
Ladies and gentlemen, the handing over of the leadership baton is taking place amidst the COVID-19 pandemic that has upended the ways we work and live. For the industry, business models and operations have been revamped, reflecting current and future realities. This while contending with a low inflation and interest rate environment and an economy that is trying to recover. For the regulator, it is not business as usual as we balance the need for smart regulation and supervision on the one hand, while promoting financial stability in order to mitigate the risks that may be introduced on the other. As a central bank, we remain committed to our core responsibilities of promoting monetary stability and contributing to financial stability conducive for economic growth.
The Bankers Association of Namibia was established in 1997 in accordance with the Banking Institution Act. Some of the members are Bank Windhoek, First National Bank, Standard Bank, Nedbank and Letshego, among others. Reporting for Today on One, I'm Joseph Shifeni. That's all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. Understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. A young and passionate law enforcement officer serving at the CS station led a team that apprehended poachers in the early hours of Saturday. The case gives an insight on the battle faced by those that are on the front line against the illegal hunting of wildlife. Cecilia commended the team and encouraged them to keep it up. Matthias says the meat should be given to the poor. Gerald wants to know what happens to the meat when the poachers are arrested. While Lee commended the team, noting that young commanders have the potential to fight crime. And football legend and former Brave Warriors head coach Ricardo Manetti recently launched his magazine as he narrates the greatest achievements in Namibian football for the past 10 years. At the launch, Manetti said that he felt the importance to start the magazine as it will provide the relevant information about football and its achievements in the country for the past decade. Mahupe says Manetti is his role model in sport, as he also encouraged him to register a football academy. Matthias says he's superb, while Wilbert says Manetti was the best coach. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One. Charo Musiandaka is standing by for today's sports update.
Welcome back to Sports on One. I'm Charo Musiandaka. The Namibia Boxing Federation recently successfully held an executive meeting where executive members were appointed in various positions. The meeting also included the revision of the Federation's constitution. The meeting was held in Onuno in the Oangwena region. Castro Olumbo has more on this story.
At their recent executive meeting on the 1st of May, the Namibia Boxing Federation appointed several board members, which included the Secretary General for the Federation, as well as revising the Federation's constitution. The Namibia Boxing Federation President further added that they have informed regional office bearers to appoint board members as they can contribute in assisting with the organizing of events in their respective regions.
The meeting was basically to appoint most of our office holders. That's now including the SG and the different chairpersons of different commissions, like for example the Coaches Commission and so forth and so forth. Yeah, and then the other part of that meeting was also then to also basically adopt our constitution, because it's very important for us to have had a constitution. We have revised it this time around, whereby the executive basically has some functions, and one of them was basically to do the appointments, and that is what we have done. Yes. Because at our AGM, basically what happened there was to appoint the board of directors or the directors, and for the appointment of the respective office bearers was something that we left out at our last AGM that we had, so we were to do that, and that is what we have done. For the officers, it's something else, because the officers are supposed to do their own AGMs, and obviously we'll also be part of those type of meetings where, in case they invite us, we'll be there, we'll be around to also guide them to come up with their, their structures and the correct structures also.
During the meeting, the NBF president also informed the Today on One Sports Desk that they will be adopting a new format for the national championships due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Rebang also added they have inquired for the girls to also participate at the next tournament.
This time around, because of COVID, we have decided in terms of the national championship to now start to divide the country into zones, where we are saying first regions should have their own regional championships, and then it should be followed by the zonal championships. Now, zonal championships will be where we have 3 or 4 regions in one zone. So that at the end of the day, if, for example, like in this case, if we are saying we have 4 zones, then that means we will have 4 boxers in each category from each region. And in boxing, if it's the elite one, then that basically translates into 40 boxers that we'll have at our nationals. Yes. But all this was, what we have thought about, just to be safe, in terms of, COVID-19. Maybe worthwhile mentioning again also is the girls, because at that particular tournament, girls were not participating. We spoke to the Sports Commission at that time, and they promised us that this time around, the girls will also be included.
The 9 members that were selected for positions are as follows.
That's all we have for you today. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages for more sporting stories. Back to you, Maggie.
Thank you, Charo, for that update. Now a look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. East wind conditions are expected over the coastal areas this week, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior cold at first in the interior, otherwise sunny and warm to hot, but partly cloudy and hot in the north. The coast sunny and hot, and the wind fresh easterly at first, becoming moderate southwesterly later. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond. That is all from me, Maggie Forciedo, and the rest of the team. Join us again tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Till next time, it's good night.
Make the camp that probably also is good, and these guys are looking for their chances. So the camps, we're probably going to have another one around February. And our target is obviously to take the boys to go play, to expose them to the national tournaments. And in this exposure, we would want the best of them, so that we can actually just represent Namibia well. And I think, from a personal point of view, that if probably a Colin Benjamin or Quentin Jacobs or Muhammad Osef or Robert Nosef could make it without development to go as far as they could, these boys, with the development that we're putting in hand, why wouldn't they? And I think that they will. So in this crop that we have next to on Hoto and the Shalulule is definitely, and I don't think it's only going to be Shalulule and a Hoto in here, but the Nyambe in here, and it's going to be probably 3, 4, 5, 6 more than what we have right now.
I'm in Watamu along Kenya's coastline, which is commonly associated with tourists and white sandy beaches. But the locals have found hidden treasures in butterfly farming.
I am in Meru in eastern Kenya, where the growing and selling of cat is big business. However, the fortunes of this trade are now in doubt following a ban on exports of this crop to Somalia.
Is Africa ready for continental free trade? I am in Accra, Ghana, to find out what measures have been put in place to bring this vision into reality.
My name is Karine Mars, founder of Soyez Sublime, a company that designs, manufactures and sells capillary prostheses, wigs.
In the past few years, yoga studios like this one began popping up all across the country, from luxurious beach resorts to slums in major cities. I'm in Nairobi to find out how entrepreneurs are cashing in on the wellness industry.
The coronavirus that causes COVID-19 has changed since the pandemic started. So does this mean the virus has become more dangerous? Scientists have discovered thousands of mutations to the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Most mutations only lead to small changes, but scientists believe one, called D614G, may have made it easier for the virus to infect human cells. This mutation most likely emerged after the initial outbreak in China, and it spread fast after the virus arrived in Europe. By the end of June, the D614G mutation was found in almost all samples of the virus worldwide. Scientists believe this is due to amino acid changes in the virus's spike proteins, improving its ability to infect human cells. Some studies have found more spikes on viruses with this mutation. These spikes latch onto receptors on the surface of our cells. They then transfer the virus's genetic material, called RNA, inside. Being inside the host cell allows the virus to make many copies of itself. Random errors sometimes happen in the copying process, which cause mutations. Although the full effects of D614G are still unclear, some studies suggest that the mutated virus might be more transmissible than the original. This could mean more people getting sick and at a faster rate. Despite this, there isn't any evidence that the disease itself has become more severe. Scientists are worried about mutations possibly increasing the risk of reinfection. Hong Kong reported what could be the first case of virus reinfection on the 24th of August. A healthy man in his 30s is thought to have caught the virus again 4.5 months after he first got sick. During this time, mutations developed and new variants of the virus emerged. Some experts believe these changes may have made reinfections more likely. Mutations are common over the course of a pandemic. New flu vaccines are needed every winter to keep up with genetic changes to the flu virus. If a coronavirus vaccine is found, it could require regular booster jabs. Mutations won't happen overnight, and the coronavirus is mutating slower than the flu virus. But it's important for scientists to keep a close eye on how the virus changes over time. Could we be hearing more about other mutations in the future?
Omba Arts Trust is not just an organization for me. I think of it in the form of a person, a mother and a friend I have walked and grew with. A friend whom I've traveled many remote and dusty roads. A sister who provided so much needed support.
Kamang agke kumta akwa ka kama kali khatani umwa ngaba ka harasiko am qason ikake ngasheni kubiya umma ngqaqosi ngqaniya aywe digara Oako ogo musa omkazua tai akazua tai kuku akan kete kaka kwasi aka kwasi kudu kai tani duchi sake
Kunit kubuka kana borka kana kumbuka
There is a saying in Damara for people such as Omba, which is which simply means someone who will, with love, exchange your lean piece of meat with their fat one. It might sound simple when translated, but when used towards a loved and appreciated person, it gives such honor. It describes a person who will do everything to make sure you are taken care of. Besides, we all know how the Damaras love their meat.
Nou, dit is Maria. Goed. Ja, nu moet ik meer daar gaan wees. Nee, dus die boeren hulle milies plat. Ja.
I have seen Omba grow and turn into a light of hope for Namibians all over Namibia. I have seen women and men grow as individuals, becoming respected members of their communities, but also valuable providers of their families. I have seen people with no hope in their eyes light up when they see Omba arrive to fulfill a promise which was made and which they did not believe will be kept. I have seen women dance and sing for hours until the dust from their feet covers us all because the old friend has arrived. I've seen women standing up in front of a large number of people and express their hopes and dreams. I've seen people who have never left their village travel hours and hours to other countries and share their culture and experiences. I have seen children grow and become young women and men before my very eyes. Omba has been the sister holding hands throughout it all. Omba has built valuable and strong relationship with communities, empowering both women and men, but the impact on women can be seen and felt most sincerely. The work with the women has such a ripple effect all over the whole village, most especially the young. Omba has taught them to fish. As times grow tougher and much more difficult, money becomes scarce. Environment around us changes and nothing will ever be the same again. In times like this is when we realize the value of a friend like Omba. It provides hope, constant support, reliable income, and keeping us all together, keeping our pots filled and our fires burning. A motivation to do better, live better, and expect better. If one day the unthinkable happens and Omba is no more, it will be a sad time for our Namibian rural population. Therefore, let's keep the light burning at all costs.
Ons die Sanmense is die eerste mense in die wêreld wat vandag agter gaan staan. Omba is nou die water wat vir ons nat maak, dat onze wortels mooi groeien, dat ons vruchten kan brengen, kos kan brengen. Omba gee vir ons werk en van daaraf lewe ons.
It's just an amazing story that ostrich eggshell beads, 72,000 years ago, the ancestors of the San were making ostrich eggshell beads, and today in the 2020s, Junko women are still making those beads pretty much in the same way. And the work has evolved from fairly traditional products, this probably would have been worn like this, into something as sophisticated and contemporary as this necklace from the waterfall range. So here we are bringing the necklace to this gallery in Windhoek, and it then gets sold to customers in Europe, in America, and generating income for women, Junko women back in the Kalahari. So it's just an amazing thread of history that goes to this ostrich egg, to this contemporary jewelry. This basket I absolutely love. It's a finely woven basket in natural dyes. This asymmetry is very unique to Namibian baskets, and we've been working with these women, doing workshops and helping them evolve into these incredibly fine baskets. We've worked with the women developing different palettes, and there's another one with a slightly more yellow palette, but considered are the best baskets in Africa. What we're showing you in this short video is really a long journey of working together with rural communities, reviving ancient traditions, turning them into contemporary world-class products, and supporting the livelihoods of over 400 artisans. Even during COVID-19, we've been helping our sand communities with food and distribution of tippy taps. What we need to do now is to honour the trust that has been put in us over the last 30 years, to support marginalised sand communities and the livelihoods of rural women around Namibia. Your donation will help us get our 400 artisans back to work as soon as possible so that they can feed their families. The lives of their 2,000 family members will directly benefit from this. Please help us raise $50,000 by contributing to the Omba Artisan C19 Support Fund. No matter how big or small, this will make a difference in the lives of our artisans during COVID-19. Thank you.
Beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler, and I'm here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take the time that your body needs in order to release the tension that it has. So let's get started. In this session, we will be stretching the spine. We'll be folding and unfolding all the way from the head to the tailbone. This is a little bit more technical, so once you understand the technique, you can go ahead and do a couple bit more repetitions. All right, so before I get started, it's called a roll down and a roll up. I'm going to take an inhale, and on the exhale, I'm going to first release my neck, and then one by one, slowly, the upper spine, middle spine, lower spine. When I reach midway, I'm going to bend my knees all the way as far as I can go. Just to make sure that there's no tension in the neck, I'm going to shake my head yes, and shake my head no. If I'm feeling a lot of tension, I can go ahead and tap the back. Or maybe ask my daughter, son, friend to do that for me. Alternatively, give yourself a or a twist or a swing. Notice that there's no tension in the upper body. How do we come back out? First, I'm going to bend my knees, drop my tailbone, and zip my core up and stack the vertebrae right back on top of the tailbone. No tension in the arms. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And the last thing to unfold is the head. When you reach the top, you might feel a bit dizzy because there's been a lot of blood rush to the head. So what's very important is that you stay grounded. Catch yourself with your breath. Big inhale. And exhale. Let it fall right into the ground. Do a couple of repetitions, and that's going to really release tension throughout the back. Alternatively, use a ball, an exercise ball that you can just lie over. Same thing. It rounds the spine, releasing the tension in all the vertebrae. Wonderful. I hope you feel good after doing this. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe, and happy stretching.
In a corner of southern Africa lies a vast and sparse land, where endless horizons, dramatic scenery, and untouched wilderness abound. (1,500 kilometers of harsh desert coastline, a mosaic of biodiversity, sub-Saharan savanna, acacia bushland, encased by 2 deserts. Home to wildlife and wilderness abundant, yet ever at risk. This is Namibia, home to some of the most noteworthy conservation success stories across the globe. Initiatives forged, manned, and driven by passionate individuals and groups.
People are busy there walking for more than 45 kilometers a day.
Special species and wild locations under constant threat from an increasingly destructive developing world.
One of the world's true survivors.
This is the story of the Namibian wilderness, the stories of the enigmatic wildlife and natural wonders of her realm.
They are not a threat to anyone, if you understand them.
This is the story of those determined to preserve it, and thereby themselves.
Don't think I want to tell my children one day that we had rhinos in Namibia. I want to show them live rhinos.
This is the story of the last defenders.
We have been tracking them for about 7 days, and on the 7th day, we come across the butchers, and there was a shooting. We are not armed. We having a camera and GPS. We are just hiding behind the bushes. If I don't protect this species, who's going to do that? So it's that why I sacrificed my life to go on conserve the rhinos.
Armed out in the field with basically a notebook against poachers that are armed with highly dangerous weapons and more. How is this an equal fight?
I started right on the ground as a tracker, and I worked all the way up to be the CEO now, and I know how hard it is. It's commitment and dedication and the patience that you have for the animal. It's really hard. It's like you had something in your house that you are protecting for so long, and when you go away from home, somebody comes and kills it.
When the war broke out in Syria some 5 years ago, Ala, an architecture student, was in her second year of school. Then her life turned upside down.
There were no chance to complete my study in a place where people is dying.
Ala began looking outside Syria to continue her studies. She reached out to a non-profit group based in Portugal. As luck would have it, they offered Ala a scholarship to complete her degree in Lisbon, the capital city. Called the Global Platform for Syrian Students, it's helping 150 students like Ala to study in 10 countries, including Portugal.
It's a good example how a small country like Portugal, undergoing very difficult economic situation, was able nevertheless to make a pilot experience and to show that Europe can do much more than it is doing, creating a win-win situation.
The United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, is urging European countries to admit up to 200,000 asylum seekers from conflict zones, including Syria. Portugal announced that it's willing to increase its refugees from 4,500 to as many as 10,000 as soon as possible. An elderly couple provided Ala with accommodations during her stay in Portugal. She calls them her second family. But she dreams of returning to Syria and rebuilding the country.
I have to be there in the future on the land, rebuilding from the zero, because Syria is my first country.
Ala will never forget the chance Portugal gave her, although returning to Syria is her priority.
It's my dream, but also I cannot forget what Portugal did for me. So Portugal is also my second country.
Ala hopes to obtain a master's degree in architecture by next year. In the meantime, she's becoming more fluent in Portuguese, and her new classmates try to help her forget the crisis in Syria just for a fleeting moment. This report was produced by Zara Makawi for the United Nations.